All right. Welcome to the Crowdsman Show, everyone. Devin, you keep trying to make me look at this camera. I'm not going to do that anymore. It's annoying. It looks staged. I'm talking to Rory Bamford.
I'm sorry.
And Roy Slack. No, it's okay. It's okay. We'll get through it. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. It's also brought to you in partnership with Cranky Old Men Drinking Beer. Yep. We're making that money. It's piling up. Actually, Roy, I was going to mention, I think you're 2 days behind on that. I think it's about $150,000 or something. I forget what it's at. So Roy will give you a call after the show.
I sure will be.
Yeah.
I think you might be liable for some capital gains tax on that.
Oh, you're going right into that, eh?
Oh, that's better though. That's better because it is less.
Well, I got a surprise for both of you.
Tax.
This episode is brought to you by our new sponsor, the CRA.
Oh. Will they be auditing the show?
Not anymore.
And clip that, cut that. Let's not go.
We
that.
traded advertising for blindness. Yeah. Okay. Gentlemen, we got a lot of topics to get to today. I actually haven't looked at your notes yet. I've got a few. I want to kick it off today because you guys start talking about. Oh, right. What beer are we? What beer are we reviewing today, Roy?
Man, we're going off the rails.
Oh, it's a problem.
This is a West Coast IPA called Mad Tom. It's one of the core beers from Muskoka Brewery. Muskoka's in the cottage country, and I wouldn't call it Northern Ontario. If you're from Toronto, you call it Northern Ontario. If you're from Sudbury or Sault Ste. Marie, it's Southern Ontario. But from the Muskokas, they're a great brewery, and we're going to try their beer today.
I like their right off the bat. I like the dude on the front.
I was just going to say the same thing.
Mad Tom.
Best design can so far.
He for sure looks like one of our uncles. I don't know whose, but
Best design can had the best pour from Jerrod. I think so far,
I've been getting little comments, especially from Roy.
It's got silky notes on the.
Roy, starting the reviews at the end. They got to subscribe. They got to watch at the end.
I was just
calm
surprised.
down.
Sometimes there's a little bit of a muffy smell. Do you know what was interesting, Roy?
Cheers, gentlemen.
Oh, cheers!
Cheers.
I found this Riesling out of Germany, and the smell was disgusting on the nose.
Is Rory talking
Flavor?
about wine?
Incredible.
I don't know.
Isn't a Riesling a wine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Beyond a Riesling doubt.
Ooh. Anyway, going back to Jerrod's topic.
Granddad joke.
We didn't get it. Sorry. So Roy, you were saying it smelled bad, but it tastes great. Was that the point?
Yeah, it was really good. But this is like this. I won't review this yet.
Hold it back.
Hold it in.
Okay. I'm excited for my topic because we were talking about negotiation. So I started reading that book. I can't remember what the book's called now. What was it called? Getting to Yes.
Yes.
And very good book. I've got about 5 negotiations that I'm personally involved with right now, and I'm doing them all wrong. So that was great. And
you did have one that went right.
No, it's not that they're not going. It's just like I'm doing like, oh, I could have made things so much easier. And then I was reading yesterday, and it sort of ties into this. So I wanted to bring this into the show. This is actually what I read at the coffee shop. It's a great conversation starter.
The Bible?
That might be. I don't know.
Jared, I thought you.
It looks like a Bible. What do I know?
This is a custom. I actually should put the link to whoever made this. But yeah, so this is how I start conversations in coffee shops. And I read a really good thing this morning. And I'm not going to start every show like this or anything. But as water reflects face, so the heart of man reflects the man. Proverbs 27:19.
I have to say it's not as funny you reading it as Louis C.K.
Louis C.K. was better at it, I will say. But this is not supposed to be funny. So anyway, I am tying that into something real, was that I realized what the intent you come in to these negotiations with does reflect. It's how you respond. how patient you are, the communication style you use. I probably didn't need to tie that into the Bible, but I think my mother watches, so that's why I'm doing that now.
Yeah, I was gonna say this seems very targeted to a specific.
It's targeted to one person, yes.
Maybe two. Maybe two.
Maybe two.
Has your mother watched any past shows?
Not yet.
Just checking.
Let's talk about our heavy industry tour brought to you by Orica Digital Solutions, leading drill and blast into a new era with next-gen Shot Plus. With market-leading design tools and predictive modeling capabilities, next-gen Shot Plus equips drill and blast professionals to effectively improve blast designs and achieve optimal outcomes. Click below to learn more about next-gen Shot Plus. We are heading to events across North America and Australia and filming episodes on location. Email us at info@crownsman.com to be part of Crownsman's heavy industry tour. Attention builders, we've got everything you need to know about the grit and grind of the construction world in one show. The Construction Show is where you can share your expert techniques and strategies to help keep the crew strong and construction sites secure. From foundational tips, industry trends, safety strategies to advanced equipment and machinery. Be part of the voice of construction. Book your episode and showcase your company to millions worldwide. Visit crownsman.com.
But anyway, on a more serious note, I realized the positioning on negotiations, and Roy, you've got a lot of experience. You'll both have lots to say about this. But the positioning type negotiation where you both start at a point and then you try to get to some sort of compromise in the middle. And I actually thought that's how you were supposed to do it. And then what I talked about last episode was like, sometimes I feel like I come in too soft, and then some people come in too hard. They're just like, it's like a bull in a china shop, and you're just like have to go at each other. I've had that experience as well, not so much with Crownsman, but in the contracting world. But you end up, the one thing that was in that book that I found really interesting, I'd like both of you to chime in on this, is that what ends up happening is you have to make so many decisions. And Rory and I always talk about, Rory, I don't even remember where this is from, Variation is Evil. We talk about that.
Jack Welch.
Is that Jack Welch?
I think so.
No.
Variation is Evil?
Yeah, no, that's not Welch. That's not Jack Welch.
Yeah, it's in Winning by Jack Welch.
So what's the
point?
What's the intent? What's the context of that?
Well, so if you're both in a position and you're jockeying for position, now all of a sudden you're playing chess. There's so many variables coming into play. So you're creating issues that might not necessarily even be there. And I know it's just a silly thing with reading the verse, but if you come in with your intent, that will reflect. And if you can get the other person's intent, well, all of a sudden now you're trying to get to a goal, and you're not jockeying for positioning and creating all the variation. The more variation you create, the more issues that could come up. And all of a sudden, now you're sort of playing, which is other than this book, you're sort of playing this meta game. It's not even about the negotiation anymore. It's about this there's ego that comes in and all that. I'm sure both of you, Rory, I know you've experienced it. You've been in negotiations with me. So, Rory, whoever wants to jump in on this.
I just wanted to add a quick note about Variation is Evil. So, Roy, back when we were first doing production, especially when we had the business model behind it, one thing where we talk about it a lot is, so say the episode gets filmed, then Gowdy, head of production, she starts managing the editing and the production of it. So she'll send out a schedule. So it'll say this is going into production this date. You're going to see the first draft by this date. And it's better to give yourself a couple extra days and actually send it on that date. If anything, send it early, but on time is going to be the best customer experience for the client, because even as an example, Amazon will ship, they tell you the day, because if Amazon all of a sudden is shipping everything and it's landing a day later, a day early, and maybe I'm gone the day, maybe I ordered it for a specific reason. That's just one example of Variation is Evil. So we've implemented it across multiple systems. So just some more context on it.
So I'll, in that regard, in contracting, often you're competitively bidding with a number, there might be 8 bidders on a job we're bidding. And schedule is an important item. like what you said is true. If I figured out a schedule of 1 year to do a job, we should go in and say 1 year and a month, knowing that things happen, right? However, you're bidding against 7 other people. Nobody is going to put that contingency on their bid. They're all going to qualify it out. So if you put a contingency on your schedule, you're going to be a month or two behind everyone else and you won't get the job. So maybe this isn't really a part of negotiation, but a part of the bidding itself is how do you get to a place where there can be realistic schedules and realistic budgets in a competitively bid environment, which is what we've struggled with in contracting construction for many years.
But that is part of the negotiation to get them to a place, because there's something else, Rory, I've been talking to you about that I've kind of been taking from this book and just from my own thoughts and experience is I think we talk a lot about trying to find out what people's goals are, which obviously you need to know that. But you also need to know where they're at, because a lot of times those are two very different things. I mean, especially in the contracting world where they literally don't have the thing built. So, but even in like production negotiations or financial stuff, like you need to understand people's not to be confused with position, like negotiation positioning, but just where they're positioned at, where is their company at, and then you also need to communicate it. I've had in these negotiations, I don't think on one of these 5, I clearly communicated our company's current position, where we're at, kind of by fluke, I think I did, just by just having conversations, and where we're trying to get to as a company. I really didn't communicate that so they would have the context of where we were coming from in our talks. I just kind of make the assumption, well, they assume that we're trying to be the voice of industry. There you go. You know, so they're talking to us blind. It's really unfair to do to the other party.
The one thing on that, like in that negotiation that I think I find helpful, and like Jerrod, from like talking to you about like the ones that you're doing, is like trying to remove like the people aspect of it. Like people get hurt feelings in negotiations, all that. And they say be hard on the problem. And I think I think it ties into, okay, where are you at right now? I love that because I was talking to a potential client and it's, this company is specific to the net 1% of the United States. So I'm like, oh, okay. And they have a product that's going to be going out for like penthouse suites. So I'm like, oh, so you're like talking like New York City, San Francisco. Then they've got like basically hurricane resistant product for like down in the Florida area. All of a sudden you start unpacking, like, what do you want to get out? Like, what would you want to get out of this content? And it gets you to, if they don't have that yet, it's a great opportunity to let the market know. And the more information about the targeting, that helps us as well. So it's being, and it's not necessarily a problem that he's saying, but he's definitely, he's seeing that our platform, well, we could reach the masses talking about these. Well, so that they may not do.
Yeah. So Rory, what comes to my mind is in the contracting world. Then are you able to? I mean, I just a bit of it's home exterior, so very much smaller scale than what you were doing, but still, there is an opportunity if you know you want to add that extra month on. Can you ask questions that would get to sort of understand their current position, as to say, like, typically over the years, have you been able to hit timelines that people have bid on and things like that? Are you able to, do you have the opportunity generally to get that sort of context from them so they can kind of sort of negotiate a restructuring of how they're viewing the bid?
Yes, but I'll qualify as a good contractor. I'll qualify that statement.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get groups that will say, yes, we know that things are going to happen. Mm-hmm. We know that there's going to be things that take time, that cost money, and we want to build some contingency into our budget before we go to the board. I had one group, quite a large project, and similar projects in the past, we had seen overruns, not from our company, but the industry in general, of 20 to 25% on this type of work, because it's high risk work. And I had one client who said, well, if I add that kind of contingency, the board won't approve the project. So you're stuck. Yeah, Rory.
I just wanted to clarify one thing. When you said, so you're bidding on the job and you say contingency going to the board, so do you in effect have to get the approval once, like say that you get selected for the project? Is that normal procedure?
It works in a couple of different ways. Sometimes the project team will go to the board based on the engineering estimates. Sometimes it will go to the board with certain elements of the project bid. So you've already got a price from a contractor. So different projects, different approaches. But the point is that sometimes people will look at it and say, we can't put that contingency in or the project won't get approved. So it's, what's the old saying is permission now or ask for forgiveness later. So some groups approach it differently than others. I'll just put it that way.
But even that, Roy, though, that is understanding where they're at, right? Like that's not where they want to be. That they know that if they put in those 2 months, this isn't going to work. So they say beg forgiveness later. That is understanding their positioning, right or wrong.
Yes and no. Because I'm on a couple of boards and we evaluate projects and try to do it logically, knowing.
Yeah.
I remember hearing on one project, you've heard of the term black swan events. Mm-hmm. Well, a black swan event, I can't remember the exact definition, but it's something that happened that you would never expect to happen. And the project manager said, we've had 52 black swan events on this project. I said, well, in that case, a black swan event is something that you absolutely know is going to happen.
Yeah.
So what...
The definition of insanity, right?
Yeah. So, different groups approach it different ways, but getting to a point where you've got a realistic budget, an achievable budget for a project, the system right now, and you can see it because mining projects, construction projects, what's the stats? 80% of them go over budget and beyond schedule.
And the other 20% lie, I think, is the rest of that.
The other 20% they change scope to meet schedule.
Actually, in the contracting world, like you see it in the municipality of Kamloops, where I currently reside, they'll select like the lowest bidder, who then, so they go in with the lowest bid, and then they just go over budget, and then they bill the taxpayers basically. So you'll see they keep selecting this contractor that keeps underbidding
because he knows their positioning.
He knows their positioning. He knows they just want the lowest bidder, not the best quality. And then they just overbill them. You just keep hearing about it. Like they just keep putting out news articles like, yeah, it's over budget. They have to do, like there was unexpected like ground stabilization. I'm like,
when you're
unexpected. Yeah, sure.
When your claims department becomes a profit center.
Did you know cementitious binders can be responsible for up to 70% of the total GHG footprint of mine backfilling processes? Now you can replace up to 50% of the binder in your mine backfill operations with Graybond, Graymont's new low-carbon cementitious binder. This lime-based alternative binder maintains a 40 to 70% lower GHG footprint compared to typical cement and can adapt to varying mine conditions without compromising performance. Learn more about Graybond at graybond.com. Join us in the depths of the mining world, where global leaders and industry giants converge to shape the future of mining. From groundbreaking technologies, advanced machinery, revolutionary safety measures, to sustainable initiatives. This is the voice of mining. This is Mining Now. Showcase your company to millions worldwide. Book your episode now. Visit crownsman.com.
There's a water treatment. I think it's in North Vancouver. If you want something wild, look that up.
Yes, I will.
It's Now, to say wild is not even I don't even know. Grotesque, maybe. I won't pick on California. No picking on California this episode. Not the time.
No.
But it's if I was to pick on California, it's almost as bad as their SkyTrain thing that goes to nowhere. It's terrible. It's like
Jerrod,
10 times or something.
Spectacular. Estimated cost for North Shore wastewater treatment plant. I think I was getting into a feud with North Vancouver. I think I accidentally singled out Vancouver, but anyway.
Here you go again.
The treatment plant balloons to almost $4 billion with a B. The estimated cost in 2018
Yes.
was
350?
700 million.
700 million, yeah.
Now
Inflation.
You beat me to it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, cost of everything went up.
Yeah. And then we tacked on our markup on that, and then add some administration fees, and we still don't know how we got to that.
So I'll tell you, because we talk about this a lot, and people will blame the estimate, and I never blame the estimator.
Well,
Whoever defined the initial scope on that project, because obviously the final scope looks nothing like the original scope. So whether there wasn't enough engineering done, whether it was done incorrectly.
Yeah. Oh, Rory, you're popular.
Roy, the phone.
Oh, wow. My phone's not on me. I'm good. I didn't turn it off, but it's not on me. So I wanted to mention one other thing about this this hard versus soft negotiation type, which is like a style.
That was a CRA.
Just tell them you work for us. You'll be fine. This is one of my favorite. I can't talk. One of my favorite things I've read. That one of these things that's going to rattle around in my head for a while. Both parties, both parties are being soft on the negotiations. You're very transparent. You're working with each other. You're giving ground when you need to. All that sort of stuff. It helps make an agreement happen, but it might not be a wise agreement. And
if they're both coming in soft, you mean?
Both people are coming in soft. You come in and everybody's working great together, and you make all this, but you're still not using what they need, where they want to get to. That sort of going back to that intent thing, where you really define what you're trying to accomplish. It's not about being hard on the negotiation or soft on the negotiation. It's about keeping those goals defined. Both your goals, their goals, and the combined goals that you have. And those can all be different things.
So Jerrod, when you're negotiating, are you able to set some definitive goals? So what I mean by that is in contracting, and they're going to say we want a shaft 1,500 meters deep, 6.5 meters in diameter, 7 stations, and whatever. So I'm getting back to the scope. Whereas in your business, I think the scope is a little less defined.
Yeah. So one example of there's a show that we produce that we're kind of transferring it into a business model where we'll bring in advertisers and all that sort of stuff. So we have to define that because they don't know how to do it. Like they don't even know what the business model should be. But even on that one, I did not get the proper information about what he wants to do with it and sort of where things are at for him, like in budget-wise and all stuff. I just came walking in with the business model. He basically said, this is getting a little pricey. We want to get this subsidized. I went, okay, I'll take care of it. And I walked in. But then I did remember, I said, because of this book, I just started reading the book. I said to him, so I put this together, but like, do you even want to do this? Like, is this even something you want to look at? I just kind of brought it in here for you. And then he clarified. So we got into agreement before we even looked at the model. But you're right. It's not as – usually they're a little lost in our business. Well, I'd say, Rory, that's fair, right?
Well, it's such a new platform that not a lot of people even – it's just so new, I think, for a lot of them. For like a business model behind it, they're like, there's a business model behind this. Even if they're the ones that are like currently paying us, if you're looking at shifting it so that they have a business model, they're like, well, is that even possible? Well, so you have to lay that out too. Yeah,
I will say, and this is advice I've given to like producers and contractors, is that a lot of people that are in sort of production, there's sort of an artistic element to it. So what they do is they go, we're custom. What do you want to do? How do you want it to look? Well, the client doesn't know how they want to look because they don't know production. So what we've done is we've created a model that it's like the prices are set, the structure is set, the format is set. They just need to basically pick, do you want to do one episode or you don't want to do 3? So they're not having to make, again, variation is evil. They're not having to make choices. When you're in a business that people don't understand, it's up to you to define it, or else they'll be lost.
So one thing, when we started out and we offered a design build option, which wasn't an option in our industry at that time, and we would have some clients say that sounds great, and others say, well, we got to put it out to 10 to a minimum of 3 bidders, and you're the only guys that do this, so we got to split the work up. And we started out by saying, well, I think we have to educate our clients. They don't understand what a great model this is. And we went through that for a little while, and I came to the conclusion that no, our clients had to educate us. That's the danger in a service industry. If you get to a point where you think you have to educate your clients, then you're not listening to them, right? You're telling them why this model is so great and how great it could benefit them.
Yeah.
And how much time have you spent actually listening to what they want?
We had that with going to events.
Yeah.
Like, people were like, could you film at an event? And we're like, well, we'll just say yes and figure it out. And now we've got like a very good setup for it, whether it's HD remote, actually on site. But yeah, if you're not listening to what the client wants, you could be in big trouble.
But you have to, in our business, so I want to clarify this, Roy, because I think I may be misunderstanding a little bit. In our case, we have to pull basically information from multiple conversations that we have with clients, what they need, what they want, we craft it. But we are always trying to get it into a model because we're not contractors. We're a show.
Yes.
So then you basically have a sheet of options that sort of hit all these touch points and solve all these questions or issues that come up. So you do have to sort of educate them on this now and know how to match their question with the right answer that you've already made. If that makes sense.
Let me make an observation from being involved in mining now.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got the structure and the format, the distribution, like all that's sorted out. So when you talk to a client, you say, what do you want to gain from the show? Do you want to increase sales? Maybe it's internal. Maybe you want to make your employees more aware of what's there. There could be a number of things, but we've seen the different clients. I remember doing one show. There was about a 7-page document to outline the show. Like it was almost scripted.
Yeah.
And both of you know that's not the way it works at all. It's just a conversation like this, but without the beer. So yes, you'd have to educate your clients to a certain extent what the show can do and what it can't. But the listening part is about, what do you really want to achieve with this show? Do you want widespread market recognition? Do you want to get out to 100,000 views? Do you want this to be a promo that you can use on your website and just that kind of thing? So it's not about restructuring the show.
Right.
But it's about getting down to what you really want to achieve.
You need to be able to ask those questions, but then you need to be ready with the answer. When they say, we want to do this, you have to have done the work on the back end. And that's, again, where a lot of producers make the error, is that they go, okay, you've given me the answer. Now let's build something new for you. It's like, that's too much work. Like a VP at a mining company doesn't want to build an outline for your new video. They want you to go, yes, we have that option. Here it is. This is what it looks like. Because they're not, a contract. They're not doing a $150 million contract with us. We're talking thousands of dollars as opposed to millions, right? So it can't bog down their operations. We need to be ready. But as soon as we know that answer, we need to then hand them over the thing.
If they're, if someone comes to you with a concept, I want to do a show that's going to form the basis for my new website. That's going to be part of my, I mean, that sounds all great, but you're getting beyond the scope of the craftsmanship.
Yeah, which is another topic of knowing when to say no, knowing when to say, okay, this is now a whole bunch of variables. We're not going to be able to keep up with it.
Actually, Roy, that's a great point, because we've had people do exactly that. Like for one, the long form format, which actually we've now done. We've actually, because one of our values is to be affordable, that we want to give to the client. So with our new options, expanded reach, we actually have like a shorter form episode now, up to 8 minutes, and so it's a great option for like even like repeat clients, as an example, like if they have a new product line they're bringing on. But the thing is, with the long form, you will have people that when you tell them, okay, you can make some edits, they will actually say, okay, well, we want to bring this episode that was 60 minutes long, we want it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You're like, that's not the format, and we explain that to you like in the proposal, like Jerrod was saying, like all this is in that initial document.
But you guys do a great job with the teaser, that goes out. That's a 5 minute that they can use. And I did make a note of this because one of your values is to be affordable.
Yes.
And I know that the bill to Cranky Old Men Drinking Beer is really starting to get up there now.
Well, Roy, that was
about that offline.
We took a quite hard position on that.
To talk about that though, but if you paid it every day, it becomes less expensive.
Daily.
Yeah.
The Daily Show. I think somebody already has that.
It's a bad deal, Roy. I'm not going to lie, but our hands are tied. We signed a 5-year contract.
We all signed on to it.
You'd have to go back to the board to get that revised.
But in accordance to this, if you're in debt for 7 years, we have to cancel it. So, yeah.
Sounds like Roy's stuck with us for another 6 years and 9 months.
Well, I don't know, because
that's only the bills from the 7 years. Over those 6 years, as you
yes.
How's the saying go? It was one of the mining guys that said that the meek shall inherit the earth, but they won't get the mineral rights. I can't remember who said that, but
no, that's Proverbs as well. That's in there.
Yeah. Proverbs has everything.
It has everything.
They don't call it the good book for nothing.
Yeah.
Harems, mineral rights.
Oh boy.
Wisdom.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah, Google that one, Rory.
Okay. Rory, what do you got? What's on your heart? What's on your soul? What have you been reading? I know you're religious sometimes.
You said Roy, right?
Rory.
Okay, well, I want to defer to, because like we've been unpacking the negotiations again. I actually want to go into Roy's topic first, because mine's going to be a little bit lengthy. So I'm going to defer that one, because I want to talk about what Roy has put in, like this announcement that came out.
Oh.
And so I'm going to defer to Roy to kind of give an overview of that, because again, for negotiation, it's a nice segue.
Oh, okay. Well, fine. You know what? Let's do it that way, Rory. That's fine. Because
I want to discuss
not another variation.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to start discussing like the craziness of like
stop smiling, Devin. Now I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed. Go ahead, Rory. Whatever.
What a great segue, Rory.
That was.
You must do this for a living.
Well, Jerrod gives me notes. Don't interrupt, and then he just bulldozed me.
Anyway, on a serious topic. Now, within the mining industry, there was a discovery called the Ring of Fire in northern Ontario. Cobalt, nickel, a number of critical minerals. It's a very big deposit, and but lots of challenges, because it's in the James Bay lowlands. So the lowlands are aptly named. From James Bay, about 200 miles in, I should have.
Roy, that's strike two, man.
That's Trump calling you, going, wait, what is this? The Ring of Fire? What?
Yeah, excuse me. I thought it was China, actually.
Yeah, that's a Johnny Cash song. That's the American.
Oh boy.
So this mineral deposit's in the James Bay lowlands, And for about 200 miles, there's only about 100-foot difference in elevation. So what that means is it's swamp. You know, you fly over it, there's puddles. So it's very difficult area to build on, to build a road, to do anything with. So it's, even though it's in Northern Ontario, it's quite remote. And, but a great mineral find. So NORAD started working on it. I think there were 12 different Indigenous groups that they were negotiating with. Eventually it got to a point where the province, which deals with mining is under provincial legislation.
What are you smiling at, Rory?
Began negotiating.
My window.
Oh. Do you have a
Cut that out.
Do you have a little character going through your window? Yeah. There you go.
A little character, yeah.
I saw that. I saw that dad smile there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, Rory.
Yeah, but
carry on there.
No.
Anyway, too late to make a long story short. The Ring of Fire for about 12 years has been ongoing negotiations. And in January, the federal government announced that they had come to agreements with some of the First Nations groups. And I think this week, earlier this week or late last week, the provincial government had signed a deal with. So this is after 10 years of negotiation. So
that's a negotiation.
If a mining company gets involved, you know, you negotiate for a couple of years, figure it out.
Yeah.
You get provincial and federal governments involved, and it's a whole different animal. Coincidentally, the deal was signed a few days before an election was announced.
Oh,
and interesting to note that both a federal election is coming, but provincial election was announced in Ontario.
That was just announced a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah. And Ontario also sent a $200 rebate check to everyone.
Oh, I wonder why they did that.
I don't know.
Good timing.
Is that
So Ford
it's always nice when someone gives you your money back.
Is Ford running for governor, or what's going on? Sorry.
Well, he's running for premier again.
Ontario, huh?
I got thinking about it. If we had an election every year, we might get a lot more done. But
it is true. Like the 2-year cycle for the House reps in the USA, they have to basically a year of like get stuff done, and then they're right back into it.
Yeah, no, they're really productive. Yes.
So after saying that, it really looks like good news on paper. Yeah. I'm not sure. There's already, you know, the province signed an agreement with one Indigenous group. Another Indigenous group came up and said, "Hey, what about us?" Like it's not a done deal.
Roy,
it makes for good headlines, but I'm not sure.
Can I read a couple of paragraphs of this article? Because it says a working group made up of community members from 15 First Nations and the Impact Assessment Agency of Canada will conduct the regional assessment. Once a report is finalized, it will be submitted to the Chiefs and Minister of Environment and Climate Change, and then it lists all the First Nations groups. So does that mean they've just signed off on doing the assessment, right?
No, this is something different.
Oh.
This is the road. See, and the road is complicated because the road provides access to the mine and mineral resources, which was provincial, but the road provides land access to 12 different Indigenous communities, which is federal. So there's a mix of purposes for this road, and so
That's
you've had
why they increase the capital
every
gains.
group, and could be as if they didn't get enough money from taxing marijuana. Anyway.
Oh, that's a good topic too. Oh. So Roy, from what you're saying though, it's long from even like it's, we've talked about like the life cycle. It's a long ways from actually having like.
But the road is a key part. You know, for the mining company, if the road is approved by all the groups, then that takes a huge risk item away from the mine.
Access.
What about rail? Are they looking at rail too?
They looked at rail, they looked at road, they looked at hydro.
But they'll do
foils.
road.
You name it.
But road
the,
for the First Nations agreement would be because then it's accessible, right? That would you would think that would be a priority in the First Nations negotiations.
Yeah, I mean, rail is cheaper transport.
Yeah.
But far less flexible, right?
Yeah.
So they did studies on all of that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's an interesting one. That could again, like most of these topics, that could be its own topic. Roy, do you want to move on to yours? I don't want to pressure you. I don't want to rush you.
Yeah. So because
let me just start by segueing into Rory's topic.
Okay.
I think it'll be a very interesting topic, and will complement what Jerrod and I have just spoke of. Go ahead, Rory.
Yeah, return. I'm going to read a couple. Return on equity, 8.1%, 5-year average, 11.2. No, this is riveting.
Oh, was that Xylem or
yeah, I was just picking.
Flowserve?
I hope there's some balance sheet in there.
Buffett.
Rory, you need to take control of your subject,
Until it's
man.
shiny.
Letting these guys rock all over you, man.
Yeah. It's as I say. It's
and he's just like a puppy dog watching his baby go back and forth.
Not even there. I have no excuse.
Grand Slam tennis.
What I did want to talk about, gents, is
aggressive.
You see a lot of this where companies will pay, like there'll be a multiple which is way higher than sales. So price to sales as an example. So I was looking at Xylem pumps, and one thing that I found interesting is, so there in the chart that I did put in the chart. So it's like showing revenue, it's showing operating margin, net income. So one thing I like to look at is like how fast did a company double their net income? And then I can match that up with like the price fluctuations of the company. So
you mean historically, Rory, or their forecasts?
Historically, I don't look at forecasts. And I just look at historics. So as an example with Xylem, what I like about it is, I'm just going to find it here again. So they've got $609 million in net income, 2023. They're on pace for, it looks like, 830 in 2024. So the 609 though, they almost doubled it in 9 years. I think there's a big acquisition in there. I need to dig more into it. Actually, I don't need to, because I'm not going to buy the company. I'll just flat out say that right now. Too expensive for me. But what I do like looking at.
Is this a real company?
Xylem Pumps. Nope, not a real company.
Okay. I was just going to say, a lawsuit is great publicity.
Oh, I see. It's okay.
It's Xylem? No, it's a fictitious Xylem called Triple Zylem. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
So a Xylem investment would be insane.
And this is not investment advice, obviously. So,
I like the nasty Roy better than this.
Yeah, it's great. I like him challenging me on all the BS. He's like, did you just make that number up?
You get what you pay for.
So I would look at, okay, are they going to double their earnings in another 8 years? It looks like actually they're well on pace to do that. But what I don't like is that you're paying such a high ratio, like you're paying such a high premium on their sales and their earnings. So they're, with the current market cap, if you bought the whole company today, $29 billion, but I only get 600 or 800 million in net income. I don't like that. That's too high. So I'm looking for kind of in that 15 to 20 range, depending on the growth, like how fast that earnings is increasing.
So if you were to buy the whole company, you'd only get $6 billion in 10 years. No, but you're saying they're compounding.
They're compounding, so they're probably going to double their earnings probably in 8 years. So that's going to go from, let's say, 6 to 12, 1.2 billion.
But when you say say buy the company, are you talking about buying shares?
I look at, so this is the thing. I look at if I'm buying shares in any company, I look at it like if I was buying this whole company at this price.
Oh, okay.
So the 29 billion.
As a shareholder, you want to look at dividends too. You want to look at a few different things.
Yes, but that's also, so they do pay a dividend, but I also want to see if I'm buying as an example, let's say this company right now is worth $6 billion in market cap, but they're earning $600 million, but they're on pace for over $800 million this year. Then I'm going, okay, this is nice because
that's what I'm saying.
That is 10% initial return on the earnings or over that. They're also going to have a lot of cash flow to be able to pay out in dividends. So a company, as an example, if they are worth, if Xylem dropped and they were worth, as an example, let's say $8 billion, total market cap was $8 billion. They were making $800 million in earnings, but they're paying out 50% of the earnings as dividends. You've got a very, very good potential business case to make for buying that company.
Sorry, I was trying to make you said their market cap's at $29 billion. Though, right? Billion.
29 billion, yes.
And their net is $600 million?
Yes.
But their growth rate is kind of set to double
every 8 years at current projections. So they'd only get to 1.2 billion. So in 8 years, so let's just use, even if you use $1 billion, you're paying 29 billion for 8 billion in earnings.
So it'd still only be even at 12, it'd still only be 12 billion.
So
right, I see. Yeah, I see what you're doing.
So I look at that, I go, well, next. Anyway, that's kind of how I go.
Because your theory is you could find, like Roy's saying about a dividend, but you can find a company that's at a better price that still pays the dividend, so you're not overpaying on the stock price.
What I am curious about is looking at this company and then also at Flowserve Corp. For some reason, there must be a pretty big moat in the pump sector because these companies are trading at high multiples. So that
is Flowserve a real company?
No, Flowserve is triple O with double V.
Soft serve ice cream. Soft serve ice cream.
Yeah, it's an ice cream shop. In Vancouver. That won't serve.
Yeah, thank you.
Won't serve Rory because they saw the episode.
Shop,
right by Steamworks.
Exactly. Their market cap is $8 billion. And then, but if you look at their net income, so $8 billion, their net income is $268 million. No, sorry, $187 million in 2023. But when I look at theirs, when you compare it, Xylem I prefer over them, just in the sense, Xylem, of course, fictitious company, but I prefer them because they have stable growth, whereas Flowserve, the ice cream company, is all over the place.
But the market cap, market cap is a point in time measurement, right?
It is.
Market cap is just shares times share price.
Well, but isn't that the point,
share price is up and down.
But that's the point, Roy, though, is Roy's saying it's a good company, but he wouldn't buy it today. If it dropped, he might buy it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's that principle of like buy a really good business at a really good price or like a reasonable price. That's where Munger, who's Munger, we don't know, but
Buffett.
That's where he
You mean Chuck?
Chuck, yeah.
I'm going to buy a Buffett doll right now and send it to you.
So anyway, but I just find it interesting because that is one comparison that I quickly make is I go, well, Xylem, I still, as a business, I'm like, I like that business. I love the pump business. There's a lot of margin in it. There's competitors, but it's not as competitive as certain sectors. It's just like, why is the price multiple so high? You would have to dig in more and to see like what the psychology of it, what they're telling investors, because there might be a reason, or it's just because they're a dividend payer and maybe they did a big acquisition in the last couple of years that gets people all excited about it.
I think if I bought the company, first thing I'd do is change the name. Anyone that has a company that starts with an X, I mean, I don't know what that's all about.
That's really controversial as well, but I think they spin off.
Well, I just for context, Xylem has AC Fire Pump, Flowjet, Flight, Godwin, High Pack, Rule. They've got a whole bunch of brands.
Jerrod, I'm glad you brought that up because that was the other thing I wanted to put out there is like how they've got all these like brands that like I know like for being in like mining and all that. how do you market? Like, obviously they have Xylem, but how do you market all these names of?
Are they competing? Are they competing brands?
No, the pump business, I don't know too much about it, but one of the things is there's all these applications where specific pumps go in.
Sure.
So these companies develop and then they get bought up by the bigger player, right? It's one of those things.
So slurry, water, different medium.
Diaphragm, all that.
Yeah, and then you got even pumps within the manufacturing space, and it's just all sorts of stuff going on.
Everything needs a pump. Everything industrial needs pumps.
Yeah, so these pumps are plugged into all these places, and then they just get scooped up, right? So they're kind of.
But I guess the question, I guess what it leads back to is what I find interesting is people will, again, going back, I said about it like way before on earlier shows, like you look to find like maybe a good deal on like a car or like a pair of shoes or whatever, but people will pay these monster premiums for a lot of these public companies. And I would rather just sit in T-bills and wait for that correction to happen, because they usually are inevitable.
Yeah, when you're talking about that, Rory, and I was thinking not about as a shareholder, but I was thinking in terms of mergers and acquisitions. And people will pay, when we look at an acquisition, I look at payback period, I look at some basic parameters. Yeah. But then I see some acquisitions that are multiples that don't make sense. But the only thing I can assume is they're strategic acquisitions.
Sometimes it's positioning.
Someone's trying to get into another market, either from a service point or geographically, or they're trying to take a large enough market share to marginalize their competitor. There's got to be some reasoning behind it beyond just a straight investment. And you see it in the tech industry. The multiples for acquisitions in the tech industry are much higher than any other industry, and the returns aren't.
Well, they aren't. Although in the tech industry, there is an element that sometimes I don't think investors understand, and that is the data side. How valuable is that data, right?
They call it the new oil, basically.
Yeah, so like Microsoft buys LinkedIn.
Yeah,
and you
they
go,
call it
wow.
the new oil because they're trying to sell their shares.
Yeah. No, and that's true. No, there is a lot of overpriced stuff. That absolutely. But if you look at like a Microsoft buying LinkedIn, LinkedIn, I don't think they were profitable even when they got bought.
I don't think they were profitable, but boy, that was a good acquisition.
But now they've got that. I mean, it's the business network attached to Microsoft, all that integration, all that access to data, people's not just people's contact, but their communication, like their networks.
Speaking of LinkedIn, did you get your ID sorted out on LinkedIn,
I knew he was going to
Jerrod?
bring that up.
I just got my hair cut. Yeah, I grew it out in the Philippines and kind of rocked that new look and changed my name, and then it didn't quite land the way I thought it would be. But what I did do is I sent messages to almost 100 men on LinkedIn asking why. I can hear you laughing, Devin, on the side. About 100 men asking why they were showing up in my feed and if they would like to meet me.
Nice.
So
you get a lot of responses. Roy obviously
I got shut down pretty hard, even as a blonde out of Florida. I'm not going to lie.
Didn't work.
Hey, Jerrod,
a lot of
let me give
accusations.
you some advice. Never shut the door. Like the comments you've made about your kid, you could be single in short order. And
Roy, that little bit, if you would call it that I've done, I still am getting comments about that. People, yeah.
You mean of the gargoyle?
Wasn't a gargoyle. It was the little thing off Harry Potter that I can never remember what it is called.
Yeah, what was that? Anyway,
it's the little tree root thing. It's cute.
Go watch it on
Baby Groot.
Put the link in the description. I cannot. We need to clip that as a highlight and just put it out so people can
bring up a picture of my kid. It's the same thing.
Turnip toddler.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. I mean, we've covered a lot today. We read the Bible. We talked about how we feel. We mentioned Warren Buffett. It's not a show without that. And
he watches every single minute.
And Munger from up there.
Yeah.
Okay. We talked about life and death.
Cranky old men drinking beer.
Cranky old men. What, Roy?
You just said that to get more money. You're shameless,
Damn
Roy.
right.
Shameless.
I'm gonna go what? I'm gonna go back to watch this because I'm pretty sure my feelings are hurt. I haven't been run over.
Well, we didn't even get the singing comment in during the show, so
I know that got cut out. I just loved when I'm assuming your baby went across somewhere and you're just like you know you're on camera, right?
I'm expecting cuts, but I'm not so sure about it.
I'm pretty sure there won't be cuts on that.
Have you watched any of these shows?
I've checked a couple to make sure the image. Not a lot of cuts, not a lot of edits.
Not a lot.
There's no bleeps, no cuts, no
bleeps. Yeah, Rory. Wow. Right off the intro. Did you see the last intro? You just dropping F-bombs right off the beginning.
Roy, what? I know Roy's got to watch that. He's got to watch that language. Lenny's going to have to come back. I don't know if he said Roy or Rory. So.
I said Rory. You were dropping F-bombs on the last one. It was a lot. It was a lot. Rory, this IPA, I hate it. I'll give my review right away. I hate IPAs 99% of the time. Rory, what do you think of it? But I love this. I love this Scottish nut job on
there.
The
hint from the beginning of the show: terrible smelling wine, amazing taste. Despicable.
Whoa, okay, too much.
But even below zero.
I was shocked. I was expecting some fruit, but I guess the IPA is the bitter. Like if you want real bitter.
I mean,
that's the key.
I got some Irish heritage. I still drank it, of course, but
oh yeah, me too. It's almost gone. It's almost gone.
I think that's. I think what's coming out, Rory, is your disdain for Vancouver because this is a West Coast IPA.
It's actually pretty good. Not
bad. But how is it West Coast? Because it says Muskoka Brewery on it.
It's a type. It's a style of IPA.
You set us up. You ass! No, kidding.
I do want to take back despicable, but I was just like, I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, that's a good word. You're right. I agree.
Surprised or maybe disappointed.
Yeah.
You're expecting a little bit hoppier.
I don't. Yeah. And it's a great logo, everything about. But like, I can't go buy a 12-pack of these for the Super Bowl.
This is the kind of beer that if I'm hanging out with these type of guys, I pretend I like it.
This is great. Give me that axe. I'm going to go chop down that tree.
And hope they don't shake my hands and feel the absolute lack of even one little mark.
I moisturize every day for the show.
I purposely don't moisturize most days just so my hands have a little bit of something on them.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've lost the train of thought here. I think we were talking about a beer and we got into hand care.
Mad Tom. We were talking about our Uncle Mad Tom.
Yeah, we're talking about when you hang out with these crazy folk, you have to act like you kind of know how to swing an axe. Is the concept.
Is he crazy or is he angry? We don't really know.
He's both.
You guys are angry. There's a little crazy in there too, I think.
Did you rate this beer? What did you think? Was it a 17, 18?
No. I'm going to guess. Can I guess your rating?
Yeah, let's guess.
Okay, yeah. Okay. I'm guessing 14. I can't imagine you gave it a 15.
I'm going to go 12.
Whoa, that's
so
rude.
So interesting. You guys are pretty good because in the original rating on Cranky Old Men Drinking
beer.
Ding!
The charge for that.
It's 30 days now.
In the original rating, it was a 14.
Nice, Jerrod. Nice.
And over the last few years, we had reviewed Juicy Ass before, and one of the shows, right?
We'll put that as a highlight.
And
the show has the Bible.
So over the years,
it,
after drinking some really nice IPAs, I would look at a 13 for this.
Oh, so.
So a couple of years ago when I first tried it, I gave it a 14.
But it's shrunk
after trying a lot more IPAs, I would say this is a 15.
I would say half of that is just the branding, isn't it?
Because the branding is great.
Yeah, I mean it's
Roy,
lots of fruit, but it doesn't have the hops.
Is that what it is? Is that what it's missing?
I think so. Like it's fruit and malt, but it needs a little tang, or it needs something else.
Yeah. A little tang would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, the nose, I'm like, this is going to be great. And I took a sip. I'm like, I'm going to talk about this lovely wine that had a horrible, horrible smell. Like the nose was terrible, but the fruit was amazing.
I think they tried to mix the fruit with the malt is what you're getting. Instead of fruit and hops. But anyway, I'm no expert.
You just write 10,000 of
just
these
like
things.
them.
How many reviews do you have on Cranky Old Men Drinking Beer?
It was over 1,200. I can't remember how many.
Over 1,200.
Well, we didn't say it very many times in the last episode, so Rory and I had a meeting right before this and made sure we said it like 10 times. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's the same average, Rory. It's just you're going to see a bit of a spike on this one, but the other one didn't have really much.
And because we are affordable, we'll just send you every day.
And flexible. Okay. If you need a little time and you just want us to tack on some interest, whatever. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought your mission was to be adorable.
No. Affordable.
From what you're charging cranky old men, I thought it was adorable.
Oh, I thought you were going to say from my new LinkedIn profile.
That's the most compliment I've ever received.
No, that was adorable. Rory's singing earlier was horrible.
So I checked my LinkedIn at like 3 a.m. and it said, your account, because I've been messaging them and trying to get
you
through.
You didn't let Roy finish. He was that adorable and horrible, and he had a third one coming.
Sorry, Roy. I'm drunk.
Carry on.
I don't even remember what I was going to say.
That's the theme of this show, I think.
Oh, well, it's not even a good story, so I really sucks.
Roy didn't even finish the beer. Yikes.
Down to the dregs.
I always finish the beer.
Yeah.
I'll choke it down.
I'm Irish.
So I think my mission is to pick a beer that you won't finish. That'll be...
I haven't finished mine.
I have a few in mind.
But Jerrod's going to be more difficult.
Yeah, no, it's pretty hard to make me not finish a beer.
Just don't review a Guinness. He literally just has it on tap.
It's not a question of if, it's a question of when.
There's a hose system that I just bring down for Guinness.
You need one of those hats from the ball game with the
No, I keep it
beer
classy.
cans and the straws.
Like,
and,
give me a
yeah.
Oh yeah, you keep it classy and trashy.
Yeah, classy and adorable.
Yeah, I keep it together until I get home. Then I let out all my anger. No, I'm kidding. I gotta stop. We gotta end this show. Devin, you're not supposed to laugh at that. That's not funny.
No, I'm sorry. I saw everyone else laughing. So
that's. I just go along with the crowd.
Yeah, just go along.
Devin, you gotta rein this show in, Devin. There's got to be some modicum of control here.
Mm-hmm. I know, but I think this was my favorite one yet. This episode was awesome.
Wow, favorite. Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you.
The immoderate moderator.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. Roy, thank you for reviewing this of what it should be, because I think, Roy guessed 12. He's probably more accurate than either one of us, but we got through it. We'll see everyone. Make sure to subscribe. Put your comments, unless they're negative, and we will see you on the next episode of The Crownsman Show.